Algebra 1, this is 1.2, guys. We're going to talk about order of operations. What we're going to do first is we need to talk about what does it mean to evaluate something. What?
We did this along with the 1.1.
We did not do this already. So, what does evaluate mean? Guys, it's recording. So, evaluate. Yeah.
I was going to say for evaluate for PEMDAS, isn't it like my dear Aunt Sally instead of old Sally?
Okay. We're going to talk about what does evaluate mean. Just evaluate, guys. To solve, I don't like that word necessarily. Because this is not necessarily an equation. To solve equations, we need to evaluate this. Yeah.
Maybe like sort of.
Understanding the question. Okay, I can work with that a little bit. Probably something a little bit more. How about simplify expressions? Simplify, reduce, make it better looking, as in a better form that means the exact same thing. So when you simplify expressions, you're not changing its value. We'll use equal signs between the expressions to say that they are always consistent or being equal to each other, but we're not changing it. Because as soon as we have an equation, you can start doing things to one side, which you'll have to do to the other. That doesn't also change it, but you can solve for a variable. This time we're not solving for anything. Also, guys, remember what does 4 to the 5th power really mean? 4 times 4 times 4 times 4 times 4. And that itself would equal what? Take a calculator out. You should know how to use the power button on your calculator. 4 to the 5th power. Everybody should be looking for this button that looks like a caret. We call that a caret key. Or y to the x. So what is the answer to 4 to the 5th power? Abby? How much? 1,024. And 7 to the 3rd power is just 7 times 7 times 7. Or 21 times 7. Chuck? 343. Okay? Now, I think we all have heard of the acronym PEMDAS before. It's please excuse my dear... Oh, sorry. Yes, that is not old. That should be Aunt Sally. So please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. That was my typo. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. And the reason we use this acronym is to remember the words on the left there. And those are the correct order that we need to be in. P stands for parentheses, E is for exponents, M is for multiplication, D is for division, A is for addition, and S is for subtraction. Now, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to change things up slightly than maybe the way you guys have seen this all before. I agree that anytime you have parentheses or grouping symbols that yes, it has to go first. You have to always do what's inside before you move outside. Okay? And again, exponents are very important. So those two spots, guys, I am going to say are two different distinct steps or levels. I'm going to have levels. I have my parentheses done first, my exponents done next. But then, when I get down to multiplication and division, I'm going to think of them as the exact same thing. If I divide by 2, I could just instead multiply by half. Is that okay?
Yeah.
So therefore, multiplying and dividing, guys, are kind of the same thing. So if it's going on at the same time or at the same level that I want to simplify at, I can do them in order, okay? At the same time in a way. The same thing happens for addition and subtracting. Because if I have to subtract 3, I could add negative 3 instead. Now, the one thing I don't have on here is you always work from left to right. You want to go from left to right. So therefore, when I'm doing my multiplication, division, and my addition to subtraction, I will look from left to right, left to right, left to right. Same way you read it, right? Keeping things as simple as possible. First two problems are up here, and you have to simplify. Evaluate. Give me a number. 16 minus 8 divided by 2 squared plus 14. If you just work left to right, you might get this problem wrong. You have to take the steps of PEMDAS into account. So, according to PEMDAS, parentheses, any grouping symbols? No. I see no grouping symbols attached to this one, but I do see E for exponents. So that means 2 squared needs to be evaluated. 16 minus 8 divided by 4 plus 14. What would be my next move? Kathy? It is 8 divided by 4. Why is it 8 divided by 4? I can't do it. Why couldn't I, when I did my magic here and replaced 2 to the 4th with 4, how come I just didn't do 16 minus 8? Right? I can just do two things at once, right? Yeah. Yeah, division here comes before any addition or subtraction. So yes, this becomes 16 minus, what's 8 divided by 4? Plus 14. Now, all I have is addition and subtraction going on. At this point, they're all on the same level, so I will work from left to right and say 16 minus 2.
14.
And 14 ends up being added to 14.
Wouldn't it be negative 14? Why would it be negative 14? Oh, alright, never mind.
Okay? So everybody gets 28? I'm going to give you guys a couple seconds to do the second one on your own. We'll come together. Okay, hopefully you got an answer by now. Parker?
550.
550? Okay, Parker says 550. Let's check them. What's the first thing you need to do? Someone who has not answered yet? Rio? 8 squared is 64, so 20 minus 7 plus 64 minus 7 times 11. Everybody okay with that move? Next, move. Ready? 7 times 11 to get 77, because multiplication comes before any addition or subtraction. At this point, they are all added or subtracted. Yes?
Yep.
Okay. Fritz? Add 7 to 64? I'm going to work left to right, and I'm just going to write each step down. What's 20 minus 7? 13 plus 64 minus 77. What's 13 plus 64? Minus 77. Ends up being 0. So, our guess, or our first attempt through the problem, which we didn't show our work, because we just took an answer right now, was 550. Must have done something out of order. Do you remember what you did first? So you did all the stuff first and then multiply by 11. Remember, multiplication comes before any adding or subtracting can be done. Now remember, guys, if there's things that are happening way from each other, you can do them kind of at the same time if you're still not crossing paths. So, what I'm trying to say by that is that I could have took the 20 minus 7 and got 13, and at the same time made 64, because they are completely independent things going on. Okay? But if it takes only, if you're not at that point and can't see that, then I highly suggest that you do one thing only at a time, like we did, and follow through the list until you get to an answer. I want you guys to skip well, no, go ahead and do these. These have parentheses now. These have grouping symbols. So please, attempt these. Okay. So, first move, guys. First move is what?
The parentheses.
The parentheses, which means 10 minus 6.
4. That's right.
Hey guys, guess what? I didn't get rid of.
What?
I didn't really get rid of the parentheses, but this is not the same type of grouping. I just used the parentheses there to signify that there is something between the 5 and the 4. What is it? It is multiplication. Now, I've got division going on, I've got an addition going on, and then another multiplication. So maybe I should take 2 plus 5, right? No, because addition would be the very last thing we should do. But I can do 4 divided by 2 to get 2. Plus, what's 5 times 4? And put them together to get 22.
That's what I got.
Okay, guys, next one. It looks like I've got exponents with a couple sets of parentheses. If you notice, it looks like I've got a parentheses with an exponent that's added to something else that's nestled inside another grouping symbol. So this is what I need to do.
The big grouping symbol.
I need to start inside and work my way out. So in this particular problem, the 15 is just going to go along for the ride like you guys do. So, I'm going to leave the square on the outside here and just say, what's 3 minus 2? 1. And now, working my way again. 10, whoop, that's 1 squared. 1 squared is 1. And then, what's 10 plus 1? What's 10 plus 1, guys?
11.
11. And again, working left to right, these things go very quickly. 15 minus 11.
That would be 4. 4 plus 6 equals 10.
So 4 plus 6 is 10. We're going to step up the game. I don't, guys, I'm not really too worried about the second one there, but this first one I am inspired here. So we're going to focus on this problem here, which is 4 plus 5 squared divided by 3 times the quantity of 7 minus 4. Now, guys, fractions themselves act like grouping symbols. When you have a fraction, the numerator and the denominator separate the top and bottom from each other, and they have to be done separately before you can bring them together. So on top, I will do the top first, I will do the bottom second, and then simplify if I can. What should I do first up top? So 4 plus 5 is 9, which is still squared over 3 times 3. Is everybody okay with this?
Yeah.
Okay. 9 squared
81.
over?
9.
And what's 81 divided by 9?
I believe that's 9.
So we get 9. Okay, guys, now I stepped it up even more, made it look scarier because I put variables in it. You just have to use simple coaching techniques and substitute the stuff you don't want with stuff you do want. And we want the values of x, y, and z to be inside of the expression. Now, I'm going to tell you this right now. Anytime you play coach and you substitute in, you must use parentheses. It's very important that you do that. So, what we need to see is 3 times 4 squared plus the quantity 2 times 5 plus 3 to the third power and end the parentheses. Yes, multiple parentheses. If you have to, use brackets to change those up. And now I just work from left to right, inside parentheses outwards. Notice that this group is independent because it has a plus sign from this whole entire group. And inside the group, I have 2 independent things that are happening above the addition or subtraction level. I'm going to do all 3 in the first line. What's 4 squared? So 3 times 16 is completely independent from the fact that 2 times 5 is 10 plus 3 to the third power. It's 27. And what's 3 times 16? 48 plus 37, which ends up being 85. I'm skipping the next example. You guys can try that on your own. Let's move on to the last example. It's about as big as I can make this and still make it fit, guys. I'll read it to you guys. Science on a sphere, SOS, demonstrates the effects of the atmospheric storms, climate changes, and ocean temperatures on the environment. Just some background stuff. It says that the volume of a sphere is 4/3 of pi multiplied by the radius r to the third power. The first thing I want you guys to do is give me the volume of the sphere. Give me the expression. Now we could say actually the expression is going to have an equal sign because we say V equals, right? Just because it's volume. So V equals, wait a minute. That means I got to take the words like we did last night or yesterday and put it into the expression. That's all we're doing here. Volume is, right there, 4/3 of pi. What's 4/3 of pi? 4 over 3. Pi times, multiplied, times the radius to the third power, or r to the third power. You're done. And then part B just says, hey, wait a minute. If the what is the volume if you have a 3-foot radius of the sphere?
You just plug in a 3.
Just plug in 3, guys. So we're setting you guys up to be able to solve or simplify answers in real life. So, guys, I am just going to fill it in with what I know. And I know that r is 3, so I put it in there. And what's 3 to the third power again? 27. So, that means that I have this changed to a 27. Now, they're all multiplied, which means I can group them in slightly different orders. Yes? Would you guys agree that that's 27 over 1? Isn't that 4 times 27 divided by 3? Or, guys, 27 divided by 3 times 4. What's 27 divided by 3? 9. And 9 times 4? 36. So the answer is 36 pi. And wait a minute. Our radius is in feet. Volume's always in feet cubed. Yeah, there's homework problems that are word problems. This is no different. You just got to set the equation up first before you evaluate. Homework from chapter 1.2, page 13, 15 through 54, every 3. Have a fantastic day.